It is March 21, 2026. The U.S. and Israeli militaries planned for a swift campaign against Iran. Instead, the conflict has bogged down into a grinding war of attrition that is actively destabilizing the globe. The official coalition updates outline Phase 2 of Operation Epic Fury. The Israeli Defense Forces have expanded the northern front, launching localized ground incursions into Lebanon to push Hezbollah forces north of the Litani River. Simultaneously, the Pentagon has deployed a third aircraft carrier strike group to the Arabian Sea, tasked with securing the Persian Gulf and escorting commercial shipping. The primary U.S. conventional strategy relies on heavy B-2 bombers dropping massive ordnance penetrators, 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs, directly onto the Zagros Mountains. But destroying these targets is difficult. Iran has spent decades burying its subterranean missile cities beneath hundreds of feet of solid granite. Having total control of the skies does not automatically translate to total destruction on the ground. The U.S.-led coalition claims they are dismantling Iran's military, but sealing a few surface-level ventilation shafts is very different from collapsing a deep underground bunker. With its surface launch sites under constant attack, Tehran has pivoted heavily to asymmetric warfare. State-backed hackers have launched massive DDoS attacks, which flood servers with artificial traffic to force them offline, targeting U.S. energy grids, water treatment plants, and the Israeli banking sector. The physical escalation is even more severe. In the Persian Gulf, an Iranian midget submarine torpedoed an abandoned Liberian-flagged oil tanker, deliberately creating an environmental hazard. This satellite map shows the Strait of Hormuz, the geographic choke point connecting the Persian Gulf to the open ocean. With the torpedo strike, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy has officially declared this critical shipping lane a closed military kill zone. The global economic fallout was immediate. Brent crude oil surged past $140 a barrel this morning, triggering steep sell-offs in major Asian stock indices and forcing European leaders into emergency sessions to draft fuel rationing protocols. This illustrates how asymmetric naval warfare works. Iran does not need giant warships to defeat the U.S. Navy in open combat. They only need cheap sea mines and suicide drones to hold the global economy hostage and trigger a worldwide recession. Western militaries heavily promote systems like the Patriot and Iron Dome as a near-perfect shield, but no air defense system is built to handle endless, daily saturation strikes, combining drones, cruise missiles, and ballistics. The primary weapon breaching this shield is the Khaibar-2, an advanced solid-field ballistic missile specifically engineered with multiple warheads to evade modern interceptors. The Israeli military imposes strict censorship to hide the exact locations of these missile impacts. However, open-source intelligence, or OSINT, which relies on publicly available data like civilian smartphone footage, bypasses these gag orders the moment a missile strikes a city. Through leaked footage and Israeli court documents, we can verify that sensitive intelligence targets have taken direct hits. This includes the Galilot complex, which houses Mossad headquarters, and the Kiryat military headquarters in central Tel Aviv. This satellite imagery of a military airbase shows the exact layout of aircraft hangars and runways. Independent analysis confirms that key strategic locations like Nevatim Air Base, home to Israel's F-35 stealth fighter fleet, have sustained verifiable damage. In northern Israel, Iranian ballistic missiles struck the Bazan oil refinery in Haifa. The damage forced a total shutdown of the facility, instantly eliminating 60% of the country's gasoline processing capability. When you compile the verified OSINT data, the coalition's projection of absolute invulnerability begins to fracture. A heavily sanctioned nation is successfully bleeding the world's most advanced militaries simply through volume and geographic leverage. A rumor is currently leaking through intelligence networks that would alter the core assumptions of the air war. An advanced F-35 stealth fighter was reportedly locked onto, damaged by a proximity detonation, and forced into an emergency landing. Stealth is a delay tactic, not an invisibility cloak. Advanced phased array radars, or infrared search and track systems that detect the immense heat of a jet engine, can target a fifth-generation fighter if it flies too low or opens its weapons bay. This aerial view shows the remote Diego Garcia Atoll, a classified U.S. military base in the deep Indian Ocean. The second rumor suggests an Iranian missile successfully reached the vicinity of this island. This presents a massive range problem. Diego Garcia is over 4,000 kilometers away from southern Iran. If a missile reached that deep into the ocean, it means Tehran has successfully weaponized its space launch vehicles, converting orbital rockets into functional intermediate-range ballistic missiles. If Iran can strike Diego Garcia, they have a missile that can fly that same distance in any direction. If you draw that exact same 4,500-kilometer radius northwest, Paris, London, and Berlin fall squarely within striking distance. This is a deliberate warning shot, acting as global blackmail. Tehran is proving to the US and NATO that their deep ocean logistics hubs are gone, and European capitals are now in the crosshairs. Facing a catastrophic energy crisis, China and Oman have brokered the Muscat Initiative, an emergency proposal demanding a 72-hour humanitarian ceasefire to stabilize global markets. Washington immediately rejected the proposal. The official doctrine dictates that a ceasefire now would allow the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps to rebuild its command structure and restock its missile silos. Instead, President Trump has issued a strict 48-hour ultimatum, demanding Iran allow international cleanup crews into the Gulf and reopen the shipping lanes. The threat tied to this deadline is absolute. If Tehran refuses, the U.S. military will permanently destroy Karg Island's core oil export infrastructure, effectively neutralizing the Iranian economy. Iran's strategy of maximum attrition has successfully trapped the coalition in a worst-case scenario. By pushing the economic costs of the conflict to the breaking point, both sides have boxed themselves into a corner where backing down looks like defeat. As the ultimatum ticks down, the world is waiting to see what happens next. If diplomacy fails in Muscat, destroying Karg Island will leave Tehran with nothing left to lose, potentially pushing a cornered Iran into launching an all-out, desperate final strike.